All right, so shoulder pain is a major issue, especially in any overhead sport. So whether you're a quarterback in football, volleyball, if you're a CrossFitter, you're an overhead athlete, pitchers in baseball, I might have already said that. It's an issue, and we want to look at training volume, pressing overhead, pulling horizontally, different angles to see if that might be the cause. So shoulders are super flexible as they are, right? Super mobile as well. They go through a large range of motion, all different directions. So sitting there stretching them like crazy most likely is not going to change anything because they're pretty loose as they are. Now, what might cause the problem is that if we're not balanced in our shoulder training. So especially in the world of CrossFit, we have a tendency to press overhead, we have a tendency to pull and pull-ups, but we don't do much horizontal pressing or pulling. We don't do vertical pulling that much unless it's like in a clean or snatch, but then that's helped by our hips. We will do dips, but a lot of people stay away from them because it bothers their shoulders or they're just not strong enough to do them. So we want to look at your overall training volume. So this is my challenge for you. Look at the past 4 to 6 weeks of training, and I want you to count up all the reps of pushing and pulling from your shoulders that you're doing. All right, so for what I like to see personally is horizontal pulling or pushing, we want to see somewhere between 2 and 3 times the amount of pulling. Yes, 2 to 3 times the amount. Now, vertical pressing, the vertical pulling, again, we like to see that vertical pulling and horizontal pulling be more than the vertical pressing. So we'll even simplify it more. Just count up all the volume of reps of pushing, whether it's overhead, horizontally, dips, wherever it happens to be, and let's count up all the pulling horizontally, vertically, even high pull for your shoulders, and that number should be 2 to 3 times the amount that you're pressing. That's what we want to see. Now, if all you're doing is pull-ups, we're missing a lot of muscles, we're missing a lot of range of motion. Again, the shoulder moves through such a large range, we want to work it in different ranges. So my challenge for most of you is to add more horizontal or different angles of horizontal pulling. You can add it into warm-ups, add it into accessory work. I know for CrossFitters it's not much fun to do horizontal pulling in WODs, but remember, WODs are not the only thing that you're supposed to be doing in CrossFit. That's a piece of it, but that's not the working on your weakness side. So we often see people who have shoulder pain, it's just they're so imbalanced in how their shoulder training is going that as soon as you start dropping the volume of pressing just a little bit, increasing that pulling volume in different angles, multiple angles, and we usually like to go a little bit higher rep with it, especially with that upper back because it reacts really well to it. You'd be amazed how over time that shoulder pain gets better. Now, for those of you that are going to count it up and actually look at your training and see whether or not you're unbalanced in that shoulder, or imbalanced, whatever the correct term is for it, make sure you give yourself time to correct it. Don't go out there and be like, you know what, I did it for a month, I still have shoulder pain. Think about how much training volume you've done through your shoulders throughout your lifetime. Now, don't expect that to change in a month or 2 months. Maybe it's going to take 6 months. Maybe it's going to be a year before your shoulders feel 100% healthy and you kind of corrected some of these imbalances, wherever it happens to be for you. So give yourself time, give yourself some grace. Don't be so hard and then just push through pain. All right, so first thing first, count up pressing versus pulling. Let's see what you normally do over the course of 4 to 6 weeks. And then let's correct it by adding exercises before and after those Metcons or your actual training. So this is really important for Olympic weightlifters too, because they have a tendency to move in the same plane all the time, because that's the sport. So we want to get outside of our sport, move in different planes, so that way our general fitness and we have a complete package in our upper body instead of just being able to get a lot of weight overhead. So if you're in shoulder pain, try it out. Hope it helps. Love to hear how it goes for you.